Based on the historical data and forecast, Bitcoin demonstrates an overall upward trend, bouncing off the support price of $66,000. The RSI indicates that the asset is currently not in an oversold position, but approaching the middle range. Considering the Bollinger Bands, the price has been fluctuating within the bands, suggesting potential for continued volatility. Therefore, my strategy will focus on capitalizing on upward momentum while managing risk. I recommend a long position entry at $70,100 on April 10, 2026. The stop loss should be set slightly below the lower Bollinger Band at $69,500 to protect against unexpected downturns. The initial target price will be the upper Bollinger Band at $73,600 on April 16, 2026, indicating a significant profit potential. If the price reaches $73,600, we can consider moving the stop loss to break even to secure profits and potentially extend the target price to $74,000, contingent on further upward momentum. This strategy combines trend analysis, RSI signals, and Bollinger Bands to maximize returns while minimizing risk. Based on the historical data and forecast, Ethereum exhibits an overall upward trend, supported by consistently testing the 2130 support level and approaching the 2240 resistance. The RSI indicates periods of both oversold and overbought conditions, with recent values trending upwards. The Bollinger Bands suggest periods of volatility, but the price has generally remained within the bands. Considering these factors, I propose a long position strategy with a focus on capitalizing on the upward momentum. The entry price will be $2,140, coinciding with the first day of the forecast period and a slight dip from the recent high. A stop loss will be set at $2,100, just below the recent support and the lower Bollinger Band, to mitigate potential losses. The initial target price will be $2,250, aligning with the forecast high and a significant resistance level. To refine this strategy, I'll incorporate RSI and Bollinger Band signals. If the RSI falls below 30, indicating an oversold condition, we'll enter a long position at the nearest price, with a stop loss 2% below the entry price and a target price 5% above. Conversely, if the RSI exceeds 70, suggesting an overbought condition, we'll consider a short position, with a stop loss 2% above the entry price and a target price 5% below. Combining these signals with the overall trend, I anticipate the price to reach $2,270, so I will adjust the target price to $2,270. This combined strategy offers a high probability opportunity for substantial gains while managing risk effectively. Based on the historical data and forecast, BNB demonstrates a fluctuating trend with periods of consolidation and volatility. The RSI consistently remains below 50, indicating a generally oversold condition, with dips below 30, particularly on March 31 and April 6. The Bollinger Bands show that the price has recently touched the lower band, suggesting a potential bounce. Considering the support price of $593 and the forecast for the next week, I recommend a long position entry at $595. The stop loss should be placed slightly below the support level at $588 to mitigate potential losses if the price breaks down. A first target price would be the recent resistance level of $611, and a second target could be $620. To refine this strategy, I will incorporate a dynamic RSI-based approach. We will enter long positions when the RSI falls below 30, as indicated by the readings on March 31 and April 6. The stop loss will be set at $588, and the first target price will be $611. If the price reaches $611, we will move the stop loss to the entry price of $595 to secure profits. The second target price will be $620, and if that is reached, we will consider taking partial profits and trailing the stop loss to protect remaining gains. This combined strategy leverages the oversold signals from the RSI, the support and resistance levels, and the Bollinger Bands to maximize potential returns while managing risk effectively. Based on the historical data and forecast, Solana shows a slight upward trend, with the price fluctuating between a support of $80 and a resistance of $85.8. The RSI indicates periods of oversold and overbought conditions, with recent values hovering around 47.8, suggesting a moderately bullish momentum. The Bollinger Bands show that the price is currently near the lower band, indicating a potential for a bounce back. Therefore, I recommend a moderately bullish strategy focusing on short-term gains. We will utilize an RSI-based strategy with a combined approach of Bollinger Bands for confirmation. Specifically, I suggest entering a long position at $81.4. Given the proximity to the lower Bollinger Band and the RSI reading of 47.8, this entry point offers a favorable risk-reward ratio. Place a stop-loss order at $76.4, just below the lower Bollinger Band, to limit potential losses. Set a target price at $85.8, aligning with the recent resistance level. If the price reaches $85.8, consider taking partial profits and moving the stop-loss to break even to protect gains. This strategy combines technical indicators to maximize potential returns while managing risk effectively. Based on the historical data and forecast, TRON exhibits a slightly upward trend, consistently bouncing off the support price of $0.316. The RSI values hover between 58 and 70, indicating neither strong overbought nor oversold conditions. The Bollinger Bands show that the price is currently approaching the upper band, suggesting a potential for a short-term pullback. Considering these factors, I recommend a long position with an entry price of $0.323 on April 11, 2026. Place a stop-loss order at $0.316, just below the established support level, to limit potential losses. Set a target price of $0.327, aligning with the forecast price for April 16, 2026, and the upper Bollinger Band. To refine this strategy, we'll incorporate the RSI and Bollinger Band signals. If the RSI dips below 30, indicating an oversold condition, we should enter a long position at $0.316, with a stop-loss at $0.313 and a target price of $0.323. Conversely, if the RSI exceeds 75, signaling an overbought condition, consider a short position at $0.323, with a stop-loss at $0.327 and a target price of $0.32. Combining these approaches, the most efficient portfolio would be a long position at $0.323, stop-loss at $0.316, and target price at $0.327, adjusting based on RSI and Bollinger Band signals for enhanced risk management and potential returns. Based on the historical data and forecast, Dogecoin shows a slightly upward trend with price fluctuations within the $0.0906 to $0.1 range. The RSI values have been oscillating between 42.7 and 53.9, indicating periods of both oversold and overbought conditions. The Bollinger Bands have been relatively stable, with the price frequently touching the upper and lower bands. Considering these factors, I recommend a combined strategy leveraging RSI, Bollinger Bands, and support/resistance levels. My proposed strategy involves a long position when the RSI dips below 30 and the price touches the support level of $0.0906. The entry price will be $0.0906. A stop-loss order should be placed just below the support level at $0.0899 to mitigate potential losses. The target price will be set at the resistance level of $0.1, aiming for a substantial profit. Furthermore, if the RSI reaches 80 and the price touches the upper Bollinger Band, consider taking partial profits and adjusting the stop-loss to protect gains. This combined approach seeks to capitalize on both momentum and range-bound trading opportunities. Based on the historical data and forecast, Cardano has been exhibiting a slight upward trend, bouncing between the support price of $0.24 and the resistance price of $0.289. The RSI indicator fluctuates between oversold, below 20, and overbought, above 80, levels, currently hovering around 49.2, suggesting a neutral to slightly bullish momentum. The Bollinger Bands indicate periods of volatility, with the price occasionally touching the upper and lower bands. Given the forecast prices consistently above $0.249, I recommend a long position strategy. We will enter a long position at $0.249, placing a stop-loss order at $0.24 to limit potential losses. The initial target price will be $0.254, aiming to capitalize on the short-term upward momentum. To refine this strategy, we will incorporate RSI and Bollinger Band signals. If the RSI dips below 20, oversold, we will consider accumulating more Cardano at the prevailing price, with a stop-loss slightly below the recent low. Conversely, if the RSI reaches 80, overbought, and the price touches the upper Bollinger Band, we will consider taking partial profits and tightening the stop-loss. The final target price will be $0.255, contingent on the RSI and Bollinger Bands confirming continued upward momentum. This dynamic approach allows for adapting to changing market conditions and maximizing returns while managing risk effectively. Based on the historical data and forecast, Bitcoin Cash has been fluctuating within a range bounded by a support price of $431 and a resistance price of $446. The RSI has dipped below 40 in recent days, indicating an oversold condition, and the forecast prices suggest a slight downward trend in the short term. Considering this, I propose a contrarian strategy focusing on potential rebounds. We will initiate a long position at $438, placing a stop-loss order at $431 to mitigate potential losses if the price continues to decline. The initial target price will be $446, aligning with the resistance level. To refine this strategy, we'll incorporate the Bollinger Bands. The price has been trading near the lower band, suggesting a potential bounce. If the price reaches $441, we will move the stop-loss to $436. If the price reaches $446, we will set a target price of $441 to secure profits. This combined strategy leverages the oversold RSI signal for entry, the Bollinger Bands for confirmation and dynamic stop-loss adjustments, and the established support and resistance levels for target prices. This approach aims to capture short-term upward movements while minimizing risk. Based on the historical data and forecast, Chainlink shows an overall upward trend, supported by the consistently rising forecast prices from April 10, 2026, to April 16, 2026. The RSI values have been fluctuating but generally trending upwards, indicating increasing momentum. Considering the support price of $8.69 and the resistance price of $9.34, we can formulate a strategy that combines RSI, Bollinger Bands, and trend analysis. I recommend a long position entry at $8.78 on April 10, 2026, coinciding with the forecast price and a relatively low RSI value. A stop-loss should be placed slightly below the support level at $8.6 to mitigate potential losses, and a target price of $9.06, aligning with the forecast price and a reasonable profit margin, should be set. To optimize the portfolio, I suggest a layered approach. The initial long position at $8.78 with a stop-loss at $8.6 and a target price of $9.06 forms the core. We can add a second long position at $8.79 on April 11, 2026, if the price holds above $8.78, with a stop-loss at $8.69 and a target price of $9.34. This strategy leverages the upward trend and forecast while incorporating risk management through stop-loss orders. The RSI and Bollinger Bands provide additional confirmation signals, allowing for adjustments to the entry and target prices as needed. This combined approach aims to maximize returns while minimizing risk. Based on the historical data and forecast, Zcash shows a strong upward trend with recent significant price increases. The RSI consistently rises, exceeding 50 and nearing overbought territory, suggesting continued bullish momentum. The Bollinger Bands are expanding, indicating increasing volatility and potential for further price movement. Considering these factors, I recommend a long position strategy focusing on capitalizing on the anticipated upward trend. The entry price for this position will be $313, aligning with the first day of the forecast period. A stop-loss will be placed at $302, just below the lower Bollinger Band to mitigate potential downside risk. The initial target price will be $388, corresponding to the forecast price for April 12, 2026. To refine this strategy, I'll incorporate RSI signals. If the RSI falls below 30 during the forecast period, consider a temporary hold or even a short-term long position, with a stop-loss at the lower Bollinger Band and a target price near the center of the band. Conversely, if the RSI reaches 80 or above, a partial profit-taking strategy can be employed, selling a portion of the holdings and moving the stop-loss to break even. The final target price for the entire position will be $412, aligning with the forecast price for April 16, 2026, representing the peak of the predicted upward movement. This portfolio combines trend following, volatility assessment, and RSI-based adjustments for optimal risk-reward management. Based on the historical data and forecast, Pendle shows a downtrend with consistent support at $1.01. The RSI consistently fluctuates between 31 and 41, indicating a mixed sentiment but generally leaning towards oversold conditions. The Bollinger Bands are narrowing, suggesting decreasing volatility and a potential trend reversal. Given the forecast prices hovering around $1.02 to $1.04 and the RSI nearing the oversold level, I recommend a long position. The entry price should be $1.02, with a stop-loss set at $0.998 to protect against further downside. A target price of $1.06 is set, anticipating a bounce from the support level and a potential move towards the resistance. To optimize returns, I propose a portfolio combining the RSI and Bollinger Band strategies. When the RSI dips below 35 and the price touches the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, enter a long position at $1.01. Place a stop-loss at $0.966 and a target price at $1.08. This combined approach leverages both indicators for increased confidence and potentially higher returns. The consistent support at $1.01 should act as a floor, and the forecast suggests a short-term recovery, making this a favorable entry point for a high-return strategy. Based on the historical data and forecast, DeXe shows a clear upward trend. The price has consistently tested and rebounded from the support price of $8.06, while the resistance price of $8.89 has been challenged multiple times. The RSI values have generally been above 70, indicating overbought conditions, but haven't consistently breached 80, suggesting potential for continued upward momentum. The Bollinger Bands have been expanding, with the price frequently touching the upper band, further supporting an upward trend. The forecast data for the next week predicts a continuation of this trend, with prices consistently above $8.57. Considering this, I recommend a long position strategy with an entry price of $8.57. Place a stop-loss order at $8.32 to protect against a potential pullback. Set a target price of $8.91 for a conservative gain, or $9.04 for a more aggressive target, based on the upper Bollinger Band. To refine the strategy, we'll incorporate RSI signals. When the RSI falls below 20, oversold, it signals a potential buying opportunity. However, given the current upward trend, we'll focus on capitalizing on pullbacks within the existing trend. If the price dips towards the lower Bollinger Band and the RSI approaches 62.2, consider a partial entry at $8.57. For the remaining position, wait for a slight pullback to $8.64, confirming the trend remains intact. Maintain the stop-loss at $8.32 for both entries. For the target price, aim for $8.91, aligning with the forecast and the upper Bollinger Band. This blended strategy combines trend following with RSI confirmation, optimizing for both potential gains and risk mitigation. Based on the historical data and forecast, DeXe has shown a fluctuating trend with support at $20 and resistance at $23. The RSI has been oscillating between 32.0 and 47.6, indicating periods of oversold and overbought conditions. The Bollinger Bands show volatility with the center band trending downwards, suggesting a weakening upward trend. Considering these factors, I recommend a strategy that combines RSI and Bollinger Bands to capitalize on short-term price movements. Specifically, I suggest entering a long position when the RSI falls below 30.0 and the price touches the bottom Bollinger Band. For example, on April 9, 2026, the RSI was 47.6 and the price was $20.8. If the price falls to $18.5 and the RSI drops below 30.0, enter a long position at $18.5. Set a stop-loss at $17.5 to limit potential losses. The initial target price should be $20, aligning with the support level. If the price continues to rise, consider adjusting the target price to $23, the resistance level. This strategy aims to capture short-term gains by exploiting temporary dips and rebounds within the established price range. Based on the historical data and forecast, just shows a generally upward trend, particularly in the last week. The RSI consistently stays above 50, indicating bullish momentum. However, it occasionally dips below 60, suggesting potential short-term pullbacks. The Bollinger Bands have been widening recently, signaling increased volatility and potential for price swings. The forecast data suggests continued upward movement, with prices expected to reach $0.0721. Therefore, I recommend a strategy combining RSI and Bollinger Bands, with a slight bias towards trend following. My strategy involves a tiered entry approach. First, enter a long position at $0.0667 when the forecast begins. Set a stop loss at $0.0633, just below the recent low and within the lower Bollinger Band. The initial target price is $0.0698, aligning with the recent high. If the price reaches $0.0698, consider a partial profit booking and adjust the stop loss to break even. As the forecast progresses, if the price continues to rise and the RSI approaches 80, consider taking full profit at $0.0721. This strategy aims to capitalize on the predicted upward trend while mitigating risk with well-defined stop-loss levels. Based on the historical data and forecast, Compound shows a generally upward trend, particularly evident in the recent price surge from $16.7 to $19.3. The RSI indicates that the asset is currently approaching overbought conditions, with a value of 61.5 on April 9, 2026. However, the forecast suggests continued upward momentum, with prices predicted to reach $19.7 by April 16, 2026. Considering these factors, I recommend a long position with an entry price of $18.2 on April 10, 2026. Place a stop-loss order at $17.9 to mitigate potential downside risk, and set a target price of $19.7, aligning with the forecast high. This strategy leverages the upward trend and forecast while incorporating risk management through a stop-loss. To further refine the strategy, we'll incorporate the Bollinger Bands. The price is currently near the upper band, suggesting a potential pullback. However, the forecast indicates a sustained upward movement. Therefore, a modified strategy is to enter a long position at $18.3 on April 10, 2026, coinciding with the support price. Set a stop loss at $17.4, just below the lower Bollinger Band, and a target price of $19.4, slightly below the forecast high. This blended approach combines support and resistance levels with Bollinger Band signals to maximize potential returns while maintaining a reasonable risk profile. This portfolio is the most efficient of the three strategies. Based on the historical data and forecast, Morpho shows a clear upward trend with increasing momentum. The price has consistently bounced off the support level of $1.48, and the forecast indicates a continued rise towards $1.91. The RSI has been fluctuating, but recently crossed above 50, suggesting increasing bullish pressure. Combining this with the Bollinger Bands, which are widening, indicates increased volatility and potential for further price movement. Therefore, I propose a long position strategy. We will enter a long position when the RSI falls below 30, indicating an oversold condition. Specifically, we will enter at $1.68. To manage risk, we will set a stop-loss order at $1.48, just below the established support level. Our target price will be $1.91, aligning with the forecast and resistance level. To maximize returns, we will employ a tiered target strategy. The initial target is $1.8, which is just below the recent resistance. If the price reaches $1.8, we will move our stop loss to break even at $1.68. If the price continues to rise, the final target is $1.91. This strategy combines the momentum of the upward trend, the support and resistance levels, and the signals from the RSI and Bollinger Bands to provide a high probability, high reward investment opportunity. The combined strategy is expected to achieve high returns with a calculated risk management approach. Based on the historical data and forecast, Theta network shows a recent upward trend, although it has been fluctuating within a range. The RSI consistently indicates oversold conditions, with values frequently below 30, suggesting potential buying opportunities. The Bollinger Bands show that the price has been near the lower band for a while, indicating a potential bounce. Considering these factors, I recommend a long position strategy. We will enter a long position at $0.161, coinciding with the first forecast price. Our stop loss will be set at $0.158, just below the recent low of the Bollinger Bands, to limit potential losses. The initial target price will be $0.173, aligning with the forecast price on April 16, 2026, and the center of the Bollinger Bands. To refine this strategy, we'll incorporate RSI signals. If the RSI rises above 50, indicating strengthening momentum, we'll adjust the target price to $0.178. Conversely, if the price hits the stop loss at $0.158, we'll immediately exit the position. This approach combines trend analysis, technical indicators, and forecast data to maximize potential returns while managing risk. This portfolio is the most efficient because it combines the three strategies, and it can achieve high returns. Based on the historical data and forecast, Pyth network exhibits a clear upward trend. The price has been consistently moving above the lower Bollinger Band, indicating increasing bullish momentum. The RSI, while fluctuating, has generally been trending upwards, particularly in the last week, suggesting strengthening buying pressure. The forecast prices for the next week are also consistently above the recent closing prices, reinforcing the bullish outlook. Given the support price of $0.0372 and resistance price of $0.0504, we will implement a combined strategy focusing on capitalizing on this upward trend. Our primary strategy will be a long position based on RSI and Bollinger Bands. We will enter a long position at $0.0435, coinciding with the first forecast price and the recent upward trend. To manage risk, we will set a stop loss at $0.0403, just below the recent center of the Bollinger Bands and a recent low. Our initial target price will be $0.0477, aligning with the forecast price for April 14, 2026. If the price reaches this target, we will consider moving the stop loss to break even to protect profits and potentially extend the position further towards the resistance price of $0.0504. This strategy combines technical indicators with forecast data to maximize potential returns while minimizing downside risk. Based on the historical data and forecast, Dash shows a generally upward trend, with a recent pullback followed by a strong rally. The RSI indicates that the asset is currently approaching overbought conditions, with values exceeding 50, suggesting potential short-term consolidation or a minor correction. The Bollinger Bands also confirm this, with the price nearing the upper band. Considering these factors, I recommend a long position with a cautious approach. Enter a long position at $32.7, placing a stop-loss order at $31.6 to protect against a potential downside reversal. Set a target price at $36.3, anticipating the continuation of the upward trend based on the forecast data. To refine this strategy, I will incorporate RSI and Bollinger Band signals. If the RSI drops below 40, indicating an oversold condition, consider adding to the position at $30.2. If the price touches the lower Bollinger Band, it signals a potential buying opportunity. The target price remains at $36.3, but adjust the stop loss to break even at $32.7 once the price reaches $33.8 to secure profits and mitigate risk. This combined strategy aims to capitalize on the prevailing upward trend while incorporating risk management techniques to protect capital. Based on the historical data and forecast, Zcash shows a strong upward trend with recent significant price increases. The RSI consistently rises, exceeding 50 and nearing overbought territory, suggesting continued bullish momentum. The Bollinger Bands are expanding, indicating increasing volatility and potential for further price movement. Considering these factors, I recommend a long position strategy focusing on capitalizing on the anticipated upward trend. The entry price for this position will be $313, aligning with the first day of the forecast period. A stop loss will be placed at $302, just below the lower Bollinger Band to mitigate potential downside risk. The initial target price will be $388, corresponding to the forecast price for April 12, 2026. To refine this strategy, I'll incorporate RSI signals. If the RSI falls below 30 during the forecast period, consider a temporary hold or even a short-term long position, with a stop loss at the lower Bollinger Band and a target price near the center of the band. Conversely, if the RSI reaches 80 or above, a partial profit-taking strategy can be employed, selling a portion of the holdings and moving the stop loss to break even. The final target price for the entire position will be $412, aligning with the forecast price for April 16, 2026, representing the peak of the predicted upward movement. This portfolio combines trend following, volatility assessment, and RSI-based adjustments for optimal risk-reward management.